Good morning, Liz Ann here. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about having personal space, creating personal space in your life. When you've come from an environment, a childhood environment that was abusive and unhealthy, three major things were robbed from you. One, and the most important, is your identity. It was stifled, it was hindered, you weren't able to grow into your full potential because the environment was unhealthy. So you have an identity crisis that's there. The second thing is your sense of personal power. When somebody has invaded your personal space and done whatever they wanted to with you, your personal power was robbed. You were at an age and at a time in your life where you had no physical power to overcome, and you were dependent on those caretakers to protect you and to give you what you needed to grow in life. And so when those caretakers, or maybe some that are outside of those caretakers, and those caretakers aren't aware or giving the right proper protection to you, your sense of power, personal power, never developed. This is a sense of power that any healthy human being should have in their life. It creates boundaries in our lives. So that was the second thing. And the third thing that's so important to be able to be happy in life is you were robbed of the magic of life. Life is so full of beauty and magic. And a child comes into the world with a sense of awe and a sense of believing in everything, and just a sense of adventure and discovering. And when you come into an abusive environment, that is robbed from you for the most part. And so these are the three main areas of healing that must take place in order to feel a complete wholeness within. So anyways, I wanted to speak a little bit about having personal space, creating that space in your life so that these areas can be healed and worked on and dealt with. Having personal space is so important. And yesterday I talked a little bit about extremes, and how when we are raised in an abusive environment, there were extremes that were going on all the time. In my case, I was raised with a lot of religious extremists. I was raised with political extreme. The government was bad, the world was bad, nothing was safe, and so I never felt safe. I never felt safe in my home, protected by my parents. I never felt safe in the world. I lost all sense of personal power and boundaries. And when you're in these extremes, what happens is, like I said, instead of having a normal, even keel life with maybe a few, really exciting things that happen, and then, a few really low moments, somebody dies, or, something happens that's tragic. For the most part, an unhealthy environment has a roller coaster ride. Everything is really extreme, or you're up here in the highs in the mountains, or you're down here in the valleys, and we take this mindset with us into adulthood. When we start to recognize that and work on that, and it's going to be different for each one of us where we recognize it in our lives, what happens is you're going to start creating space in your life that you didn't have there before, because you're always going up and down and up and down and up and down, instead of having mountain peaks and valleys that were spread apart and then big empty spaces in between. And so as you work on this, you're going to discover these big empty spaces. And these empty spaces are so key to having that ability to heal. But what happens is a lot of people find these empty spaces starting to crop up more and more, and they fear them. They don't know what to do with them. They feel agitated and irritated, and here's an empty space, and they're just so used to this high or this low, and it's just nothing, it's just a space, there's nothing here, and what happens is we don't start to fill that space with ourself and with our healing and working on our personal power and working on the magic of life and all those, and working on our identity. If we don't start filling that space up, what we do is we'll go to another extreme. We will go grab the beer, if your tendency is to drink and to get drunk, or the cigarettes. We'll chain smoke the cigarettes, or we'll grab a bag of chips or the thing of ice cream, or we'll create drama. We don't even realize we're doing it, just so we have some. Maybe we'll go see a movie that's full of drama, just so there's drama there, just so there's that extremeness there, and this space of just emptiness, we're not having to face. Because that's what happens. It feels completely empty because that space is you. It's all about you. And you face that, looking at that, going, wait a minute, I don't know who I am. I don't know how to deal with all this stuff that comes up. It's overwhelming. The emotions are overwhelming, and the space just accentuates it. I can't deal with that. But it's so important that you allow yourself this space, and that you begin to find ways to fill the space. Journaling is an excellent way. Meditation, the two together are excellent. If you can sit and just quiet your mind and just empty it of all thoughts, and as thoughts would try to come, thoughts of the day, problems, your healing, anything would try to crop up, that you would just let that flow away and not engage it, just let it disengage and flow away. Meditation can calm you a lot and bring that sense of serenity into that space. Writing about whatever comes to your heart and mind, whatever you need to deal with, is just phenomenal. I write my dreams. I go onto the dream dictionary. I look at the symbols. I write about what I felt in the dream, and it reveals incredible amounts of information about my healing journey to me when I do that. So there's just, and then actually just having a space just to self-express and just search yourself, and who ask that question, who am I, what do I love, what is my purpose? Those are questions that are not going to be easy to answer if you've never ever explored them before. They can be very intimidating and very scary, but when you pursue it and you keep pressing, it's also a very exciting journey, and you are going to be just amazed at what you will discover and what you will learn. And see, in what you learn and what you discover eventually opens up the lies first. That's what will first open up, the lies that were told you as a child about yourself. And then you'll have the emotions that come up with that. But as you are able to let those emotions come up and be able to deal with them and be able to set them in their proper places, your sense of personal power will return. And as your sense of personal power will return and more amazing things start to happen, the magic of life starts to just open up to you. This whole universe, this whole world. The questions, you'll learn that it's okay to question anything, that God is not intimidated by our questions, and that we can, if we want to believe in fairies and pursue, is there fairies out there? That's what little children do. Their imaginations are, over in that toadstool, maybe there's a little elf hiding in there, They have magic about this world and this life. They're awestruck with it. And that begins to open up again inside of you, what you should have been able to explore as a child. And yesterday I was in my garden and I was planting onion sets, and I had a little bunch of onions that were all just, clumped together, and I had to separate them so that I could, give them space to grow. And it reminded me of this very concept that I'm speaking about now, how those onions could not stay clumped. I could not plant them clumped together like that and each one of those individual onions grow with their full potential. It just wouldn't happen. they needed to be separated and given their own space to grow. And it's the same thing for us. We need space in our life. We need to start looking at the extremes around us and going, okay, am I too extreme over here? Am I getting carried away in this project and it's taken up all my life, where I can maybe, allot some of this out, or maybe not even do it at all, or maybe just start breaking it down into smaller pieces, so that I create more space for myself, where I can sit and be with myself and heal and have life become more magical. Because as long as you are pressed down under the highs and the lows, you may be doing fine for a while, but deep down in the core of you, there's an emptiness. There's just this part of you that is being ignored and neglected, and that's going to keep crying out. And you may not recognize it right away. It may come up as, I got to go have a drink. It may come up as, I need to sit down in front of a movie and just eat. I need to be busy. I got to have something to do. Those are all symptoms of a little child inside of you wanting out of this prison and wanting his identity, wanting his or her personal power, wanting to experience the magic of life. And so don't ignore that little child that's calling out to you. I would like to recommend a book that's been very helpful for me. I've read it through a couple times. It's called The Artist Way. It's an older book. You could find it, I'm sure, on Amazon or eBay. It is a spiritual path to higher creativity, but it is a book on recovery. And just the titles that she gives in here, I will just go over them really quick so you can get an idea of what it covers. So she basically gives you weekly assignments that are just fun and really just help you really discover a sense of, again, who you are and what you love and what you might want to do. And it just starts to get your feet wet and, the possibilities of you and you expanding into your full potential. And so we have a total of 8 weeks, I believe, here. And, there's 12 weeks. And so week 1 is recovering a sense of safety. So important. Recovering a sense of identity. Week 3 is recovering a sense of power. Week 4, recovering a sense of integrity. Week 5, recovering a sense of possibility. Week 6, recovering a sense of abundance. Week 7, recovering a sense of connection. So important. These are all just, so important in healing. And the assignments she gives are so fun and they're so exciting. Week 8 is recovering a sense of strength. Week 9, recovering a sense of compassion. Week 10, recovering a sense of self-protection. Week 11, recovering a sense of autonomy. And week 12, recovering a sense of faith. And I just recommend it again. It's The Artist's Way. It's just a beautiful book if you would be interested in it will actually help you create that space. It will help you utilize that space to your fullest potential. Really good book, and I highly recommend it. And I just really want to encourage you to just, again, be your own best friend. Be your own best friend. You are awesome. There's nobody out there like you. You are a creation, a marvelous creation. You have potential that others may never have because you're so unique. And just take that time to create that space for you. And whether you've been from an abusive environment or not, this goes for everybody, but especially those who were raised with abuse. We need to learn how to be our own best advocate, our own best friend, to love ourselves, to be content with ourselves, and to create that space to grow and to, again, discover the beauty and the magic of life. And that's all I have for now. I will talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.